Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I'm your host, Eric Smith, and today I am talking about Cavern of the Damned by Russell James. This is from Severed Press, and it is the story of Grant Coleman. He's a paleontologist who is down on his luck, and he's given an offer to be part of a documentary that's going to explore a cave that has recently been unearthed, and there are some drawings of giant scorpions. And so this documentary film crew is going to take Grant Coleman in, and they're going to explore and hopefully discover some interesting things. But so Coleman takes the job because he needs the money. Turns out it is not quite the film that he was expecting, but he still needs the money. So he's going to go along. He's going to do what he can. Maybe he'll discover something. But they get into the cave. It's Grant, and you've got the director, producer, the cameraman, the sound man, and an actress. So they all get, and the guy that is going to lead them through the cave, the explorer. They get inside the cave. There's a cave in, so now they're trapped. And they soon discover that there are giant creatures in the cave, meaning to do them harm. And they're trying to find a way out. They believe because there are... That's it. It wasn't giant scorpions, it was giant bats. But as you can tell by this cover, there are also giant scorpions. I got scorpions on the brain. It was bats. Because they believe the bats have another way out of the cave than this main entrance that they were at. So if they can find that other exit from the cave, then they can get out. While all this is going on, we meet National Park Service Ranger McKinley Stinson, and she is investigating the death of a prized bull that a rancher has that has been killed by something. He thinks it's wolves. She thinks it's something else. We know it's bats. So she goes off trying to track whatever it was. She hears this explosion, which may or may not have called cave-in. And she starts to follow that. She gets involved, or actually... Man, I jumped ahead. I apologize. She gets inside the cave because of the explosion. She gets to the cave. She gets inside. Then we have the cave in. She's trapped inside with everybody else. It has been a little while since I read it, and it is late, so I apologize for mixing things up. So, we've got paleontologist Grant Coleman. We've got the director, the cameraman, the sound man, the actress, the explorer, and now the park ranger, all trapped inside this cave. Outside the cave, McKinley Stinson's fiancée, who's a logger, is starting to get worried about her because he hasn't heard from her in a while, so he's looking for her. There's some other things going on, but mainly it's about all these characters trapped inside the cave trying to survive because, as you can see, there are giant scorpions, there are bats, there are other creatures. It is just a great creature fest of horror, and it's a lot of fun. This is a fun story. Harkens back, in my mind, to things like The Land That Time Forgot, Journey to the Center of the Earth. This isn't really is it a spoiler to tell you something that isn't in the book? Because there's no dinosaurs. The comparison I'm making to Land of the Time Forgot and Journey to the Center of the Earth is more about just sort of the being trapped underground, discovering giant creatures, no dinosaurs. But all sorts of other really cool stuff that wants to kill everybody in the cave. And there are some twists and turns to the plot. I won't give any of that away, but it's pretty interesting. Things I didn't necessarily see coming. Really just a lot of, if you like stories like the other ones that I mentioned, I think you're going to enjoy this. I like the characters a lot. Everybody's got their distinct personality. The film crew are interesting folks. Grant Coleman, despite everything that's going wrong, is still all about making that discovery. Ranger McKinley Stinson, a very interesting character, probably the best person in the story. She and, I guess, her fiance, although we don't get to know him quite as well as we do McKinley. But she's definitely a very upstanding person. And a snowstorm. There's a lot of stuff going on. So while McKinley's fiance is looking for her, he has to deal with bad weather as well. So it's definitely a throwback to those old-fashioned kind of pulp stories, I think. And I love that stuff, and I really enjoy this one. I am going to point out that the author's name, just for the hell of it, because I've already held this book up a few times, Russell is misspelled on the cover of this book. So I don't know if anybody noticed that. Maybe it's not something I should point out. I just find it amusing, as much as I love the giant scorpion with a dude hanging off his tail. I'm sort of distracted by the misspelling of the author's name. But what are you going to do? Maybe this book will be valuable someday because of that. It's a little misprint. But that has nothing to do with anything. That's neither here nor there. This is a very entertaining creature feature, pulpish kind of story that I highly recommend. Now, I was just going to go with the tip of a scorpion tail dripping some venom. I wasn't going to hang a dead body off of it. But I decided, because I'm a geek, that I was going to do something sort of out there, along the same vein, though. And I even thought about making this sort of a contest to see if anyone could actually figure out what this is supposed to be, but I have nothing to give anybody who might win, except points that mean nothing. So I'm just going to tell you what this is. It is 4.5 out of 5 scorpion tails. But it is 4.5 out of 5 Spider-Man villain scorpion tails. And I went old school. This is like first appearance Scorpion from Spider-Man comic books. That's what his tail looked like. This part here would be where it attaches to his butt. But that's 4.5 out of 5 Spider-Man Scorpion villain tails. I mean, I just dropped that on the floor. That's how late it is. I'm losing my dexterity. But 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was kind of fun to do that with the Scorpion villain tail instead of just a straight up Scorpion tail. So, I mean, that's Cavern of the Damned. It's just a fun, crazy, gory, wild, pulp adventure story. With all sorts of cool creatures and well-written characters. So I say pick it up and have yourself a nice, get some popcorn. Have a napkin nearby. You don't want to get like popcorn butter on the pages of your book, but it feels like the kind of thing you're going to want to have popcorn or some sort of snack, because it's like watching a good old-fashioned movie. So I will have links for the book in the description below, as I always do. And if you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put them in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. If you want to know any more details about the book, just ask and I'll go into detail. But I'll post a spoiler warning because we don't want to ruin it for anybody. And please like, share, and subscribe. So that's it for this episode of the Low Budget Review Show. I have been your host, Eric Smith, and until next time, read more books.